This is video number 3 for chapter 9. We're gonna go beyond the unemployment rate. First, let's look at some key definitions to better understand what I'm going to explain in the following minutes. Let's start with marginally attached workers. These are persons that are not in the labor force who want and are available for jobs and who have looked for a job in the previous 12 months, but not in the 4 weeks preceding the survey. Now let's look at discouraged workers. This is a subset of marginally attached workers, and they have given up on their job search entirely because they believe no jobs are available for them or there are no jobs for which they would qualify. They are not counted as unemployed because they are not actively searching for work despite their desire for a job. Um, for underemployed workers, these are individuals who may be working part-time but desire and are available for full-time work, or they may be working in positions that do not utilize their skills, experience, or educational background. Underemployment also includes those who are overqualified for their current job or are earning less than they would in a role commensurate with their qualifications. Why the unemployment rate does not fully capture unemployment scope. The U3 unemployment rate, which is the official and most common one, is limited because it only includes individuals who are without jobs and have actively looked for work in the 4 weeks preceding the survey. This measure excludes marginally attached, discouraged workers because they are not currently looking for work despite wanting employment. Underemployed workers are also not reflected in the U3 rate, even though they do not have adequate employment based on their availability or qualifications. The U3 thus can present an overly optimistic view of the job market, particularly in times when people have stopped looking for work due to tough economic conditions. Now let's see how the labor force participation rate and the U4 through U6 measures offer a broader view. Let's start with what is the labor force participation rate. This is the proportion of the working age population that is either employed or actively seeking employment in the previous 4 weeks to the survey. It offers insights into the total workforce potential and can indicate economic discouragement when it decreases. A falling labor force participation rate suggests that more people are falling outside of the official labor force, which means the U3 unemployment rate may not fully reflect all who are out of work or want more work. Now let's explain the U4 through U6 unemployment rates. U4 includes the U3 unemployed plus discouraged workers, giving a better sense of how many people have been pushed to the economic sidelines. U5 adds in all marginally attached workers to the unemployed in U4, capturing those who have recently stopped looking for work for any reason, not just because they are discouraged. And U6 includes all individuals counted in U5 plus those who are underemployed due to economic reasons such as not being able to find full-time work. This is the broadest measure and is often referred to as underemployment or the real unemployment rate, as it gives the most inclusive picture of labor underutilization in the economy. By considering the labor force participation rate and the U4, U5, or U6 measures, economists and policymakers can get a more nuanced understanding of the unemployment landscape, which can inform more effective economic policies and interventions. Now, let's look at an example. Imagine an economy with 100 people who are working or who are of working age and could potentially be part of the labor force. Let's say that 60 of these people are employed and 5 are actively seeking work, making the labor force 65 people strong. The unemployment rate, U3, would be calculated as this. 5 over 65 times 100, which would equal 7.69%. Now suppose that the economic conditions deteriorate and 5 of the unemployed people become discouraged and stop looking for work. They are no longer counted in the labor force, which now stands at 60, the same as the number of employed individuals. The new unemployment rate would be the number of unemployed people, which would be 0, since those 5 before turned into discouraged workers, over 60, which would be the new workforce, the labor force, times 100, would be a U3 rate of 0%. In this simplistic scenario, the unemployment rate falls to 0%, which would suggest full employment. However, in reality, the situation has worsened as the labor force participation rate has fallen from 65% to 60%. This drop in the labor force participation rate indicates that a smaller proportion of the working age population is working or looking for work, a sign of a weaker economy that the U3 rate fails to capture. In response to these limitations, other measures like the U6 rate includes discouraged workers, the underemployed, and the other marginally attached workers. The U6 rate is considered a broader measure of labor underutilization than the U3 rate and can provide a more comprehensive view of the employment situation. So this is why U4, U5, and U6 can give you a more realistic view of what's really happening in the economy.